offer biblical strategies for effective teaching. And today I have a special guest, my sister-in-law, Stacey Johnson. How are you today, Stacey?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good. So happy to be here with Educators with Oil.
I'm glad to have you. I'm so glad that you agreed. And I just can't wait to get into this topic.
Yeah.
So our topic is homeschooling. You know, we are educators and you are a homeschooler. That's a whole different ball game over there. So I tried it. I'm just gonna tell you, I tried it when my daughter was a kid. I failed that whole test. I didn't have the support. I was young and I had the support. I didn't know how to get it. So I just want to know, how did you get into homeschooling?
Okay, so first of all, with our family dynamic, being at home, first I was a stay-at-home wife. When I met your brother, I brought my older daughter to the relationship. He brought his first daughter to the relationship. So yeah, my daughter was already in school. It was already, that's the norm. You go to daycare, you go to pre-K, you go to school. Now I have found her a really nice Christian private school, which I love. So, we married for a few years, and then our first daughter together was conceived and born Adrian Grace Johnson. And since I wasn't working, there was no reason for her to go to a daycare. So being home with her all the time was an extremely new experience. I loved every moment of it. And so I think that was the start of it, just even experiencing that, being with my baby every day, like not dropping her off at a daycare, not having to pack that bag, like literally not missing a second of her developmental stages and her milestones. So when she got like around 4, when it's time for pre-K, I think I was just kind of sitting around like couldn't believe that I'm about to drop my baby off, like somebody else gonna be with, I'm literally doing the math. I'm like, wait a minute. So she with them 8 hours a day, and we come home, we eating dinner, and it's time to get in the bed, get ready for the next day. And it's like, wait a minute, y'all, we my baby more than I would be. And then I'm home. So that's something that I really emphasize, like being home. So I'm here all day. I know some wives stay at home while their children go to school, which I think is still great to have that time. But for me, I was like, I want my baby. And so so on my baby, I have to educate my child. So it had always like been in my head.
No, I'm just saying,
Okay, yeah. So it had always been in my head, and kind of like, I'm gonna say, like, just in a small compartment in my heart. But like I said, the school that she went to was amazing. So there was, I couldn't find a problem to homeschool. It wasn't like, oh, I'm homeschooling in response to an issue, because it wasn't that. She was in a great school. So I kind of already had been feeling like it as she went to her first year of kindergarten. I'm just like, I had already kind of said it to my husband before, but I am adventurous. I'm impulsive. So for him, I feel like that he just like, oh, this another one of her, ideas. I had a therapist ask me, she was like, do you have any hobbies? I was like, yeah, starting hobbies. Like, I might not carry the hobby out to completion, but I'm gonna have fun preparing for this hobby. Like, I'm gonna go buy all the stuff, I'm gonna research. So my husband was like, yeah, you're not gonna do that, to our child. It's her education. So I appreciate that. Okay, so fast forward to COVID. So this is her kindergarten year. And so we go hybrid. So she's a full of energy, little beautiful little 5-year-old trying to sit at a computer. And this is her introduction to kindergarten. And so what made that harder too is that I had her younger sister, I had Promise, and I might have been pregnant with Zion. But either way, me entertaining my other children, going outside, playing, that was very painful for everybody. Like, that was painful for me to have to be like, no, Adrian Grace, you have to stay in front of the computer. Of course, it was painful for her. She like, well, why I gotta sit here, and they don't. And then trying to keep us all in the same room together. We were a distraction. It was a lot, and it was not for us. So doing that really put my research into overdrive. And I knew that I had to find some type of place. So you asked me what was the reason for this. So the deciding was wanting to be with my child was my first deciding factor. Wanted to basically have a time with her. And then also with the work that your brother does, being a gospel rapper, independent, getting called all over the country, we want to go. So I don't want to check her out of school. So that was another thing. So because I jump ahead and I'll be answering all the questions before you get a chance to ask. So let me stop.
That's good. That's good.
My deciding factor was really wanting to spend time with my child, like and being able to travel with her dad with his job.
Oh, okay, yeah. And so because I'm a teacher, I did that hybrid. It wasn't hybrid. This was, full on at home on the computer, and I had to bring all my stuff home. So, and then for you to say that you feel some type of way taking your child and you want to teach her. So I forgot now. I was ready to talk to you, but I got Proverbs 22:6. It says, train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart. So we're not just teaching our children how to read, write, and do some math. We're teaching them what they should be when they become adults. We want to know not what you're going to do, but who are you going to be when you become an adult. So that is like awesome. Then I heard you say, I don't know, I'm going to let you talk in 1 second. Then I heard you say you have a husband, you want to travel with him. You have more children who weren't in school yet and in school. And that's Proverbs. You sound like Proverbs 31 woman. So I'm working on it.
I am trying.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I follow you.
Yeah.
So, she is clothed with strength and dignity, and she can laugh at days to come. So you're gonna be happy doing this because you weren't happy dropping your baby off. That doesn't make you happy. So there's a disconnect right there with that Proverbs 31 woman. Yeah. She speaks with wisdom and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat bread in idleness. This sounds like you. They were describing you. Her children arise and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. I saw that tribute that your husband had the other day. It took a minute. I loved it. I don't know. I know you were grinning. I don't even.
Oh yeah. Yeah. For sure.
So I'm gonna finish real fast. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her the reward she has earned, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. This is your praise. Your husband does it. I know he does. And that's describing you. I know you know it, but to hear somebody actually read it and see you, that's something. It says let everybody call, you are praised, right? Your children call you blessed. So you got that with this. This is awesome. So, okay, you decided to do it. You got ready. It's COVID. You're in the house. Yeah. And then we didn't go, even if that was that was in March somewhere. Still didn't, okay, it's March. Then you got to May in Tennessee. Then that doesn't mean come August you back in school. So you had to prepare. What did you do? Like, I know you could be ready to do it, but how did you actually do it?
Yeah. So first, I really did. I had to spend a lot of time researching before I even jumped out there, and even when I finally could, because my main person who I had to convince was their dad, like just because of my personality type, and just neither one of us knowing anybody who was homeschooled. So that is foreign. It was especially. I think now it's more popular, but in a Black community, like I knew some white people. I met some white people in my adult years that said they were homeschooled, but when I was actually coming up, I had never met a Black person who was homeschooled, like never. So I didn't even have anything to compare it to. So that was my first like challenge, was just like trying to research enough, because I knew what I felt in my heart. I knew I felt capable. I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I knew that it wasn't, you know, like a dopamine chase. Like I knew that is what I wanted to do and what I needed to do and what I was supposed to do. But it was just really praying, and also, you know, using wisdom to present it to my husband so that he could feel comfortable. So even after I made that jump, I knew that, okay, immediately I had to kind of get some type of support. Because like you said, lack of support is a thing. Like you will jump out there and before you know it, you drown and you didn't, you know, got back on the bank coughing because you almost died. You know, you choking on water. So I found a place on Facebook, and I think she was running ads. It was called the Melanin Village, and they work in the Mighty Networks app. And if it was not for that community, I would say that I would not be doing it. Like it was literally a collective of brown melanated mothers who were homeschooling their children. And in that platform, we shared, you know, ideas, we shared struggles, we shared joys, we shared curriculums, we shared resources. We had Zoom meetings like every other Saturday, like and the facilitator, her name is Brunea Fairchild, and she just would encourage us. She was speaking to us, like really gave us a space to just share and be okay with not knowing exactly what we're doing, you know. So she was an educator. I know she has plenty of degrees. I believe she's, you know, teaching other people's children and businesses, but she homeschooling her boys now. So that place really, of course, I give God the glory for, you know, leading me there. But naturally on this side of heaven, I have to give the Melanin Village like all props, because it was an app. It was easy, accessible, like anything. I can go in there and search, you know, fish tank project, and it's just, you know, stuff gonna come up like, so it was so beautiful. And then, and she, I believe that the Melanin Village was able to flourish because of COVID. Like everybody was on the computer. So people from across the country, women and some dads, but mostly moms and their brown children. So that was how I was able to do it initially. And that's where I really got a lot of my motivation and my validation and my encouragement to go for it.
Oh, that's cool. I remember when you started, I remember I Googled some stuff and there was a lady. I don't know if that's her, because I don't remember her name, but she was out there on YouTube. I don't know anything about Mighty. Now I'm on them. What is it called? A Mighty.
So Mighty Networks, yeah, that's an app. A lot of people have platforms in there, because I have a platform in that app. So they are a community app, but that's where they had their community. And girl, it might have been, Renetta, it might have been. I have no idea. I know I saw them run the ad on Facebook, but it could have just been God. Like, let me send it to you from every, you know, from every side, every corner.
Yeah, I don't know. I know we have the live book read in that Mighty Network. I don't know. I know it's a Mighty something. And so to find somebody that is teaching you how to educate Black children, your own Black children, because you know, in the public school, we're not caring what color a child is. We're trying to, because I'm brown, Black, whatever you want to call me, I'm trying to work. I have all Hispanic students. I don't have one Black child in my class. All of my students are bilingual or learning English. So that's and I'm trying to give them what they need, and it's hard. It is difficult. So to have a group that is there for you, that's awesome. So you have that community. Do you find any Christian homeschool parents who are Christian that are trying to say?
Yes. So I thank God for the Melanin Village, and that's absolutely how I got in and got my feet wet, and you know, just like got the encouragement that I needed. But soon after, I did feel a pull to find some people in our city, in our community, that we could actually go connect with here. So I think I kind of kept pulling on a homeschooler. Well, she's actually a director of a homeschool program for gifted teenagers, and it's called the Cool Nerds. Now, she didn't do nothing elementary, and I feel like every time I talked to her, she kept trying to get me to start an elementary school like what she did.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have not heard that. So just me really kind of pulling on her. She would have some events at her home, and just like, because everybody know that she's the woman. Like in Memphis, Tennessee, when it comes to like, homeschooling Black kids, but not traditional, like not like sitting in your house, like the unconventional what is it called? Experiential type learning. Like she's the lady. Her name is Rachel Jones. And so like I just would tug on her when I could. So she was like, well, hey, I got a building now. I'm just gonna have them, I'm just gonna open my doors up. So like she basically gave us homeschooling mom network events, basically, hey, y'all come on, we got some snacks. I'm opening up my space, and whoever you meet, that's who you meet. So I went to one, and a lady was there just writing on the board while me and some other moms talking, and she was starting a co-op. So that's a word I had heard a few times, but I didn't know what that was. I heard the word tutorial and I heard the word co-op. And so a tutorial is when you register your children and they take a course. In high school, it's a accredited course, but it's taught by someone else. So you register them for chemistry and they go to a chemistry tutorial, you drop them off and pick them up. A co-op is actually, it's like cooperation. It's the parents of the homeschool children working together to kind of like basically community share and be responsible for educating or just engaging with the children. So the lady was starting a co-op, and co-ops normally meet one time a week. And so I was just interested in signing up. So as a parent, generally of co-ops, you sign up in expectation that you're gonna lead a class, but you just maybe lead one. You're like for an hour. So you want to have a whole day schedule, but you just do one. So that was the intention. And she was a believer. Like she immediately just like, I think she prayed when we were signing in, like signing up for it. So I was really blessed to find that community. And so she started the co-op. And it's so funny because technically, generally, co-ops don't have a fee because all the parents participate. Well, in our co-op, not many of the parents wanted to participate. They just kind of wanted to just slide their little coins and just kind of just hang around, not drop the kid out, but they just kind of like, we really need a mental break. So I actually teach elementary science, art, and not any math, but science and art on Wednesdays for 4 hours a day. So I mean on Wednesdays, and I get a little stipend, so it's pretty fun. I love the kids. So we're a co-op, but we really not generally how co-ops work. But it is a Christian community. Right now, we're not heavy on teaching Bible because we do have different people there, but just knowing that we start with prayer, we end with prayer, Jesus is part of what we do, knowing that my kids can still be exposed to just a positive, loving environment and learn people from different cultures and different beliefs. So I really, really love that so much. So that's we were able to connect with a Christian community, and then there are pockets of people that I know here and there, but the co-op is really where we get like the majority of our outside of the house social experience for the girls.
Oh, I love that. That's what I thought you were talking about. I forgot what you mentioned when I said, like, I was in the bathroom. Like what I was talking when we first got on the phone, and I thought that's what you meant, what different parents were teaching. I forgot what you said because I asked you.
So what we do now as far as me homeschooling so technically my 8-year-old is my homeschooler because that's who is getting grades reported for her right now. So my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old, they're homeschooled as well, but I say officially because nobody else is getting grades reported right now except Age of Grace. So when I started homeschooling her, I'm on Teachers Pay, teachers.com, and in different places pulling worksheets. I actually purchased some curriculums. I'm all over the, internet, because one thing about in the state of Tennessee, they do not, I'm not gonna say they don't care, but they only are concerned right now for grades and attendance.
Yeah.
So they do not have their hand or their nose in what you're teaching your children. So if your child fails, but of course you report A's, but you fail your child, that is absolutely on you as a parent. Now, if your child excels, then kudos to you as a parent. So, I know some states you have to, even if you homeschool, you have to go by this K-12 curriculum. Tennessee doesn't do us like that. So you are literally in control of what your child learns and doesn't learn, which I like. So, our first homeschool, I'm pulling, different things. I had us like schedule this, what we're doing. But then I realized, even with my other two, that the schedule that I was trying to create, one thing I would encourage anybody who thinks about homeschooling, do not try to take a school schedule and shove it into your home schedule. That's not going to work. That is not going to work. You are going to be frustrated. You are going to be depleted, and it is not, because one thing about a school is that institution is structured for that. And then also too, you think about like lunch. I kept telling my husband, I'm like, I kind of figured things out as I was going. I'm like, the reason why this schedule isn't even working at something as simple as lunch is because a teacher walks the class to the lunchroom. The lunch is prepared, and you don't have to clean up. You don't have to prepare it. You just gotta make sure that they set the timer. Okay, y'all, we quiet for 3 minutes, and that's to make sure everybody eat their lunch, and then you guys can talk, and then we leave. But at the house, I'm like, my goodness, I'm trying to, fix the lunch, but keep in mind, I'm trying to stay on this schedule. Like, I'm trying to stay here. Even bathroom breaks. That's the type of stuff we don't think about at home. Like, no, we're trying to stay on this schedule, and then you got to use the bathroom. I got to change this diaper. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not working. And it's because school schedules are for school. Home schedules should be completely different. It's at home. This is everybody's safe place. This is everybody's, place of rest. So you're really trying to create a new environment in your home. So that was one thing. So, okay, so I had curriculums all over the place, trying to pull them together, and that worked for a second. But then I quickly realized that one, I'm not a strong planner, or I wasn't. I'm working on it. So one thing about curriculums are awesome for people who like to get their week together weeks before the week time, going to get supplies and like, oh, that's awesome. I am the type of homeschooling mom. We wake up today, I'm in the kitchen, and I see the coffee filters. Oh, let's paint coffee filters and make butterflies out of them. Like, that's how I do. Or we go outside today. Oh, let's hunt for rocks. Let's build a rock. Like, I'm so random and so abstract, and it works in our favor. But I kind of realized as much as I wanted to free school, I still wanted to make sure that my daughter knew how to read, was up on her math, and I didn't want to fail her on that aspect of it, because socially, she knocking out the park. Like, she can hold her weight with pretty much, a few years older than her. But I didn't want her to be in spaces and rooms and she not know academically what her peers could know or should know. So as I was thinking through that, I'm like, okay, I just really feel like that curriculums are overwhelming for me. And as a homeschooling mom, if you're overwhelmed, then the whole operation shut down. Like, no offense. I know that your classroom depends on you, but truth be told, like, the school ain't stopping because you having a slower morning. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or because you haven't had your coffee. But I'm the school, the teacher, everything. So it's like, if mama is overwhelmed, then all we're gonna do is color. You know what I'm saying? So I prayed about it, and I had heard about this school here in Memphis called Gateway. I heard about it before, and I actually had went and inquired about it for my older daughter. But for some reason, I guess they thought I was trying to put her in the actual school. But anyway, they offer something called extension program. And what that is that they provide the educational material. So, and they do it, they break it up into units. So each unit, my daughter gets a math workbook, science, social study, English, and word building. And they are student led. So it's like it's no teacher book and it's just her workbook. But in the directions, it tells her, well, get your supervisor or or your teacher to work through you with this, or let's talk about this. And I love it. It takes the think work out of the academic part for me, and I can focus on, I make sure we do her worksheets together and we go test. Each week she can take up to 4 tests in her unit. And so, little plug for my baby, she has taken about 22 tests and she has passed 100A on every single one of them. So I'm very proud of her. And that gave me peace to know that, this it's a state level workbook. So that blessed me to know that, okay, she, it blessed me to know that I actually was teaching her some things, that she knew this stuff. She's not struggling through these workbooks. And then so it takes the think work out, and it gives me the opportunity to do what I do best, and that's the random stuff, that's the fun stuff, that's the cooking. Let's go to the park, let's go to the zoo, let's go finger paint and wet some chalk and play on the sidewalk. Like, that's the kind of stuff that frees my mind up to do that. So I really love, that's where we are now. And I tell anybody, I don't know where God will have us in the next 3 or 4 years, but right now, an extension program, going to pick up workbooks and filling them out and taking them back and testing and knowing that they are documenting her grades and everything, that blessed me. And we home, like we are all the way home. So I love that for right now.
I love that too. I wish I had that. They probably did have it. I don't know, but my child is grown. I have grandkids now, so it's different. But I because in my head somewhere is a school, and that would be like something to have, that, okay, I know somebody who did this, and this way we don't have to start from scratch. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. I love that. And then, so does she get state level tests? You know how 3rd grade in here, I don't know if it's across the United States.
So eventually she will, not this year for 2nd grade, but I think starting next year in 3rd grade, that she will. And honestly, it's still an option. That's not something that's mandatory, I believe, right now. And of course, I'm gonna know for sure next year, but I believe that testing for homeschoolers is not a requirement in the state of Tennessee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not in elementary. Now, it's reporting grades and attendance, like I said. So of course, the parents want to test and track the basically it's the retention rate, of their children, then that's an option. Now, it's not a requirement. I'm almost positive, because I remember everybody in the community, like, hey, where are some places that we can take our kids to get testing? Like, it's not like, hey, you got to test your 3rd grader. Like, you don't even have to test. And some moms and parents in Tennessee will take their children out of school just because of that. So yeah, even as I'm talking, I know that that's a thing. We're not required.
Oh, okay. But so as long as she's passing the unit, so does that extension do like a cumulative test for all the units at the end of the year to see if she retained that information?
Now, you know what? Now, I don't know about that. And that would be wise, because she could just be able to, remember this stuff for this time. And the workbooks they are cumulative, that you can tell that they build off of the one in front of it. So everything is added up. But I need to ask that question. That is a question I don't know. I never thought about that. I need to ask them that.
Because we can learn it. I mean, not saying she's not learning, but
I get what you're saying.
Sometimes we go back and we're like, oh, I forgot. Yeah. My grandkids went to a private school and they had trimester tests. And that was everything in that first trimester. The second trimester was everything in both trimesters. In the third test at the end of the year was for everything for the whole year. They used to be, my granddaughter was so stressed out about that. I mean, it was a lot. And so you can see how much they retain. You don't have to, but you'll know when she gets to the 4th grade, if she remembers anything, you know, that she learned, she should, because that's my niece. So I I already know. I remember things I learned in kindergarten. So so you already said some things about, oh, you answered everything that I had to say. How you fight it. I mean, you did this. That's the Proverbs 31 woman. That's what I'm talking about. And you found your communities. And so how do you cope with the stress in the challenges? And then what are your successes? I know you said a few things that are successes with your daughter, but what are your personal successes, your school-wide successes, and struggling? Like there has to be struggles. I struggle. I'm still struggling.
Yeah, so how I cope, for sure, and it's not cliche. I absolutely have to rely on God for a lot of things. I have to petition the Holy Spirit for a lot of things. And one thing that I will say that God showed me, and it's not a suggestion. I have been talking, and it's come up in a lot of conversations lately, especially with women. Like, God commands us to rest. It's not a suggestion. It's not oh, I think you should take a break. Like, it's a commandment. And one thing I'm learning about him, I've known, but it's being proven to me that if God requires it of us, it's for our benefit. It is for our benefit. It has to take place. So one thing that I learned, because I got very not stressed out, like mentally from being challenged. I just got stressed out from doing the work, just from constantly being with my children, and not necessarily the education piece, but it's like, there's no off. I even explained to my husband, there's no drive home. There's no lunch break, where I'm leaving out and just kind of taking a breathe break. Like, I don't got to smoke. Let me get some air, or just even driving home, like leaving school and transitioning to your next destination. It's none of that. It's like we literally roll from homeschool into playtime, and now it's dinner time, and now it's bath time. So it's just an ongoing thing. And then when that's done, let me help my husband, just with his music ministry, whatever we need to talk about, whatever content we need to create, whatever phone calls I need to make. So that in itself was getting overwhelming. And so what I know, the recipe I got from the Lord was taking an off day. So Fridays, everyone in this house knows that I am off. I'm off. Like, it took a minute for it to become a custom for me and for my children and my husband as well. Because, it's kind of like, you talking about off days, and then the next Friday, you doing something else. But like, no, it took a second for it to like literally be solidified to where my friends and family be like, oh, it's Friday, you off, ain't it? I'm like, yeah, I'm off. And so it doesn't matter if I go to the park, if I go to the library. My husband is supportive to the point to where if I just want to lock myself in the room and watch movies all day, like I'm not accountable to anybody today. And so that's a bigger thing, but I had to like say, this is what I wanted to do. So that's
how long did it take for you to realize that?
That's what it took me maybe about 2 years. Like, really? Like, because I feel like that as women, especially Black women, we go and go and go, and we don't realize that we don't need to go until we can't go. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as we got energy to go, we think, oh, this must mean I need to go. In reality, it's like, ma'am, stop before you're depleted. Like, we riding on E. We like, oh, I still got some gas, just passing all the gas stations. Like, I can still get there. I can still get there. Because if it's gas in the tank, it must mean to go. But none of us do our vehicles like that. When that light comes on, it's not a challenge to see how far you can go before your gas tank runs out. It's an alert to replenish this fuel that you need to go where you're going. So it took me a minute to figure out that that's exactly what I needed to do. Now, I knew I needed to do something. But literally pulling away. So that does help me. Anytime I get now, I literally pray during the time and I ask God to make this time last. Like, so even in the moments where I can't take a nap or I can't take a break, let this nap matter to me then. Like all the feeling that I'm getting from this time right now, let me be able to pull from it. Like I need this deposit to last. So that is how I cope. Because I am in a high stress, not in a negative way, our stress is not a bad thing, but
no,
just being with my 3 girls all day long. So like I said, my husband, he's an independent gospel artist, so he's here a lot too. So I am pulled on by everyone at any given time. So that's generally how I cope. Getting up early in the morning. I kind of have been slacking, and I can tell when I slack. Like getting up in the morning, getting my devotion with God, getting into worship, just being quiet, or letting my thoughts, letting them run, let them do whatever they want to do. Being in your head is a lot of work too. Just being in your own mind. So that's how I cope. That's how.
Listen, when I say Proverbs 31 woman, I mean, no,
oh my goodness.
I just literally, now me and Shanae, the woman who I started the podcast with, we did a show about rest and that you need it. But just 3 weeks ago, now that was back in June, July. So just 3 weeks ago, every day I go 7 days a week, like 7 days a week. I have grandkids who play basketball. We have to travel with it. And Sunday is church, you always got something to do. So just weeks ago, it was a Sunday. I took a day, I sent a message to people. I said, I'm not doing anything. I'm staying home and doing nothing. I was able to take a nap, get up and still do. And I felt good. When I got ready to go to work Monday, I was good, but I had to take that day. And there is, within 7 days, God made the earth in 6 days and he rested on the 7. He didn't, you said it's not a suggestion. That is something that we need. There's a cycle in that 7 days. If it wasn't, our calendars are made off of that schedule. Everything is made off that schedule. That is something that we as women don't take advantage of. I love that you learned that. Yeah, I do.
Thank you. It was a process. And then your other question was my
successes.
Yeah, so I'm excited to talk about those. I mean, I think that from a larger scale is not so many. It is. I mean, I'm successfully homeschooling, but one thing that I am so proud of is that's teaching my baby to read, and she is a really good reader. Like we riding down the street and the words she's saying, I'm turning around like, wait a minute, I didn't even teach you that blend, or so and I would even I pick at your brother. I'm like, she reading good, ain't it? He was like, yeah, she is. I'm like, I taught her how to read, on it. I'm like, I did that, right? Like, I did that. And he was like, yeah, you did a good job. I'm like, yeah, you need to tell me that before I have to come here fishing for accolades and kudos. But that is, and it gives me confidence, and I know that my other 2 girls are completely different. They're showing me that right now, but I know that I can do it. I know that I'm capable and that they can do it. So we'll do it together. So that's one success. And just just staying consistent and persistent. Because consistency for me is a struggle too. Like I shared at the beginning, like my hobby is to start hobbies. So I pick and choose unintentionally what I'm gonna follow through on and what I won't. And just not being financially responsible for my home, I can do that. I can just like, oh, I'm gonna do this today. Oh, I'm not gonna do this today. And that's absolutely my personality type, 100%. So staying dedicated to this, it really says a lot to me. So just still being at it and still loving it and enjoying it, that is an absolute success for me. And I know it's for my girls, but for me it is. So those are my two.
That's good. That is coming from inside. So that's not other things, other hobbies, most likely they come from outside. outside stimulation, but that's innate because that's how you can continue to do it because that's what you're supposed to be doing. You can say, oh, I like roller skating and oh, let's go roller skating, but that's something from outside. You saw it and it looked good. But when it's coming from inside, that is fabulous. So I'm not going to keep you. I just want to let me see where I want to sum up because I'm loving it. I'm loving you. You don't understand. I'm just like, I'm doing this on a different level, but it's like everything I need is given to me. I do have to because of the district I'm in, I do have to go out there and get a whole lot of stuff. But in general, this is the curriculum, teach it. These are your students, teach them that stuff. If this is your classroom, order what you want. I don't have to come up with a whole lot in my head. Just that innate part that wants to teach these students. That's something different. I have to want to do it every day. Yeah. But so I got that, and your baby is learning. And I know I've seen some pictures. You have not just one, you have the two little ones in school too.
Yeah. So with three, there are three little ones here, 8, 5, and 2. 3. My brain. Yeah, so it's 3. Yeah, 3 small ones here at home. Yeah, and then my 16-year-old, she's at school, so that's where she wants to be. So
yeah, because you're a teenager.
Yeah, and I knew that she would love it, but when you get to a certain age, you don't want your mama to know that you're gonna love anything. So yeah.
Yeah, I know some teenagers who were homeschooled all their life, and then they did it. Like you said, they weren't brown, and they did it. And I'm like, went to college with them. I'm like, yeah, college? How does that work? Like, yeah,
what a lot of people do not know is that there are so many, not loopholes, but so many favored entryways coming from a homeschool beckground. Like there are so many like opt-outs and opt-ins from homeschool. Like, and of course in high school you can be dual enrollment, like your child can literally be on their track to get their diploma and taking college courses. And graduate and have that together. So it's a lot. And I've heard before that some colleges are literally searching out homeschool children, like just because we know that they're different, like they got something.
Yeah, you have something to offer. Your parent was a dedicated parent most of the time. 9 times out of 10, your parent was there making sure you understood what was happening and you're learning. Not to mention, you're learning about the world because homeschooling, you have the advantage to take your child out to the world on a field trip, like a real field trip.
Yep. And that's one thing I love about our family dynamic at home as well, because when my husband gets called to go different places, we go too. And then when we know we're taking the girls and we know we have time, I'm looking up the aquariums there, the zoos there, the parks there. And so it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. So they get to travel and get to go see places that I'm just now seeing for the first time, being 35 years old.
That's cool, right? Yep. So I thank you so much for sharing all your challenges, sharing all your successes, sharing what your babies are doing. I remember when you first started and I saw your videos. I was like, she's doing that thing. I was telling everybody. I was like, no, she has a whole classroom set up in her house. So I'm just loving it. And then just to know that you're trained, your assignment is to train your child up. Absolutely. Train your children up so they could be productive citizens and with a spiritual base, with a moral understanding of what they are here for. I mean, because whatever you want, you're instilling in those children. You said about school, you can have teachers that don't believe, saying all kinds of teaching craziness. That could happen. So, any last words? If you could tell any one parent, give any one parent advice, I know you gave a whole lot. You just this is a course right here. You can teach this course right here. And any advice? If I'm a new parent, I got a 5-year-old child. I have twins. How about that? And I want to I said, okay, I know some people homeschool. I think I want to try it.
Yeah. So the first thing that I would tell you is to try your best to unlearn your education. Try your best to let go of your expectation of what your 5-year-old should and shouldn't be doing. That's number one. Because we have like unrealistic expectations of what they should be doing. I encourage you to let your 5-year-old show you what they're interested in. And absolutely Google the best you can. Facebook is a good place to start to try to find organizations in your area. I say check out the Melanin Village. That's a free plug right there, like Melanin Village. Like she gonna be around for a long time. But those are the main things, honestly. Like if you got your 5-year-old twins, getting a home schedule. It does not take all day to teach your child. No. 15 minutes spurts of time here and there. We're gonna play with these blocks. 5 and 6-year-olds are best with play-based learning. Like don't try to sit them in front of, even the computer or workbooks or worksheets. It's like, hey, we playing with the Play-Doh, we playing with the kinetic sand. And learn your child. Learn your child. That's one thing too. Learn your child, learn yourself, learn your strengths, work them harder. Acknowledge your weaknesses and try to supplement for those. Don't spend time trying to work hard on what you can't do. That's where you go find support for what you can't do. But work what you can do like a rock star, and what your child is good at like a rock star, and God will surely show up and give you everything else that you need.
Oh my God. Now I'm telling you, the morning meetup, that is what David says. Why do you want to strengthen your weakness? You don't know how to do that. What? You strengthen what you are strong at and get somebody to help you with what you don't know. Oh my God, that helped me right here, right now.
I learned that one. I learned it the hard way. I promise you, like nobody had to tell me that. I figured that out. I'm like, no, I'm good at this, and this. And that's what I'm gonna focus on, because I've been trying to perfect my weaknesses forever. I'm like, Lord, it's a reason why God said my strength is made perfect in your weakness. Like, so I'm supposed to be weak. His strength can't be made perfect if I'm strong everywhere. So I'm like, all right, God, be made perfect.
You know how powerful that was to me right there. That was just for me, and I don't have kids. Right? Oh my God, that's just in my life. I'm trying to, Lord, I keep messing up right here. My mouth won't shut up, and I got to keep on practicing how to shut my mouth. I gotta give that to God. I'm not even going there. And then the other thing that you just said was that to learn your child. I did a whole session on that, learning the way your children learn. They might learn. I can learn by you sitting here telling me. Then I can go do it because I listened. I can learn like that. You know who learns like that? Teachers.
Not
everybody's a teacher. I might need to put my hands in it. Your child might need to put her hands in it and then work through it. Your child might have to read it and write it and all that stuff. So you do have to learn. Your child might be a mix of it all, because I can practice it. I can read it. So, man, I thank you so much, Stacey. Thank you
for inviting me. I promise the highlight of my day. Thank you so much.
This is great. I love it. So I want to tell everybody thank you for tuning in to my sister-in-law, Stacey Johnson, here on Educated with Oil.